Welcome to the beautiful world of aquascaping. Guys, I do have here the greatest, one of the greatest aquascapers alive, directly from Brazil, Luis Carlos Galarraga, but as most of you know, his
Luca
name is
Galarraga.
Luca. So we will refer to him as Luca. The whole hobby knows him as Luca. Welcome to Green Aqua.
Thank you very much, Bash. For me, it's a great honor to be here. I'm very proud to be here and grateful.
Let me start with a little introduction for those few of you who've never heard of Luca. I have 11 years worth of positions here in my hand. All your positions since 2011 is top 50, all of them.
Yes.
7 times honor prize, ranking 4 and 7. You can't do worse than top 50, can you? What is your secret? So how can someone so consistently stay in the line and be in the top 50 for these many years?
I don't know, maybe the experience that I acquired directly by Takashi Amano in Japan, and the passion for the contest, the IAPLC, is here really the contest that I love. I always will participate, and I don't know, no, not secrets, only passion for aquascaping.
Or maybe some talent as well. But you know, like how do you keep this passion alive? So what is it that it keeps you doing it again and again for so many years?
It's my hobby since childhood. I was 7 years old when I won my first aquarium from my father. So almost 50 years taking care of aquariums.
Wow, that's a lot of time, isn't it?
Yes. So the passion became my profession, and I consider me blessed because that.
How do you think that the aquarium hobby or the contest tank style has changed in those many years?
The style, it's interesting because when we saw the result of the contests, mostly the IAPLC contest, we look at the booklets and see so many beautiful works, and that year's works form a tendency. Then people start to copy, and you cannot copy an aquarium. You can try, but you do another aquarium totally different, and this became to a style. I think this is what happens with Brazilian style. That starts in 2010, after my trip to Japan,
Okay.
where I learned with Amano some tips that I will show in my presentation, and start to replicate in my Aqua shop. And my team starts to follow my style. And then everybody competes in aquascaping contests with the similar style, and worldwide became famous as Brazilian style.
I'm really interested to know a little bit more about how that simple idea came into life and had developed into this whole national, like iconic style that is being referenced as Brazilian style by all aquascapers around the world. And I'm sure you will mention that in your presentation.
Yes.
But before we move on, I want to do a little shout out to Aquabase, which you are founder of. Not alone, we will also talk about that later. So you guys check out Aquabase, Luca's wonderful shop in Brazil, and the incredible works that this little Brazilian community is doing. All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and without further ado, I'll give you the stage. I will stay here and hopefully not obstruct you too much in your presentation. Please teach us or let us know a little bit more about how you live, and I have some questions meantime.
Okay, let's talk about Brazilian style. Aquabase was created in 2003. Became from a dream of two architects, André Longarso, my partner, and I. So now we are completing 20 years from then. It starts this way, a small shop.
It is beautiful though.
With planted aquariums, only dedicated to planted aquariums and aquascaping. Nowadays it's really different from these pictures. I am blessed because I work with what I love, aquascaping.
I talked to your wife just before shooting this video, and she told me that you live a very simple life. What did she mean about that?
I think she means that we don't need too much to be happy. If we are watching TV, we are happy. If we can go to a good restaurant, we are happy. If we can travel to Hungary, we are very happy.
Yay!
But every moment counts, and every moment it's important in our lives. So we live simple. If we have money to a big travel, okay. If we don't have, okay too, and we are very happy. Now 20 years of Aquabase, and it starts with this book. This book is the responsible to Aquabase and my passion for aquascaping exist. My partner, André Longarso, bought this book in 1998. We were friends at this moment. He take a phone, call me, Luca, you must go here now. And I go to his house. We stay all the afternoon reading this book, amazed with these quality photos. We can't believe that aquariums could be possible. We don't have nothing similar in the past century. So at this moment, I am sure I want to work with this for my life.
I think we have all been inspired by Mr. Takashi Amano and his wonderful works at the beginning, this nature aquarium style, when it came into life. I remember when I first saw this book, it was also an impact for me as well.
And then in 2010, for the first time, I go to Japan. I realized that dream to know ADA Gallery, to know Mr. Takashi Amano. This gallery for me is Disneyland. Aquascaping Disneyland, like Green Aqua also. Today I became very impressed and emotive when I came in Green Aqua and saw so beautiful aquariums, so beautiful places, and remembers a lot of ADA Gallery in Niigata.
Thank you. That is an honor for
congratulations.
us. Thank you.
Well, in that year, in 2010, I attended at ADA seminar. ADA realizes these seminars to teach the worldwide distributors. So this year we have classes, and Takashi Amano teach us directly how to plant, how to create a layout, how to plant in the ADA substrate.
Is that glossostigma that you are planting there?
Yes, I'm planting glossostigma.
And then Mr. Amano is watching you. Oh my God!
Yes, this
is your first presentation, and the guy who's watching you is Takashi Amano. Yeah. Oh my God!
Yeah, they distribute us in groups. We are group 1, and our group choose me to presentate our work to Takashi Amano, and that's it.
What did you say? Do you remember what did you say?
Oh, I explain what the layout that we design, how to put the plants, how to put the driftwood, and he then criticized and...
Do you remember what he said as a critics?
He was also a very tough critic. He was almost samurai.
Ah.
But that's the way that we learn with good critics. There were 4 days of working in ADA Gallery. They teaching us techniques, planting, layouts. At the end of the event, they choose the best participant of all the group. The ADA staff choose the most representative, the most interested participant, and they choose me.
Wow,
so
congratulations.
This was one of the great moments of my life.
To get to wine with Mr.
Yes,
Amano.
yes, it was unforgettable. One of the best lessons that we have, I personally have had then, was that the layout cannot be symmetric. They teach us to use a ratio for 2 to 3, not exactly in the center.
It's like the golden ratio.
Yes, something like the golden ratio. And this is the point that really makes the difference. He teaches us that behind the strong part of your layout, you must place the red plants, the texture plants behind the strong part of your layout.
Why would you do that?
To reinforce the strong point of the layout.
Okay, that's a very good idea.
Yes. So I came to Brazil and start to practicing this technique, and that's why I think the Brazilian style born.
Oh my God,
yes.
I can't believe this. This all came from Mr. Amano.
Directly.
So the Brazilian style
Yeah.
came from Mr. Amano.
Yes.
Through you.
Yes.
As an apprentice.
Yes. In Japan, I visit a lot of aqua shops. I love aquariums, I love aquascaping, so all my trips are to visit an aqua shop, and this is so important. It's very important to observe good aquariums designed for contests live, three-dimensionality. Because if you see only the pictures on a magazine, on a booklet, you don't know how these aquariums were built. So in Japan, I have this opportunity. In the aqua shops, we saw aquariums made for contests, for IAPLC. This aquarium is from Akira Yamagishi in 2010. This other is from his father, Sensei Minoru Yamagishi. And then in this aqua shop, in Negishi Aqua Shop, I learned the importance of a team. Do you have people together, analyzing works together, criticizing your work, and they do this a lot in Japan. They sit around a table and exchange photographs of their works, and everybody, oh, this is not good, do you think it will be better this way, and sketch. And this way you improve your work, because you don't see the faults of your son, okay? But if another person say, oh, okay, yeah, really, you have, it's okay, I will fix it, and then your work is more consistent.
I think for the Japanese, this whole thing is not only true for aquascaping, but it's also true for all areas of life. It's in their culture to consult each other with different subjects, right? So we Western thinkers are a little bit more individualistic in that way, which is not a good point in progress, because we cannot learn from mistakes.
And you must accept the critics. And if you get offended with the critic, it's not good. So when I came to Brazil in 2011, I created the Aquabase layout team, similar to Japanese team, and start with some clients that have the same passion for aquascaping, that have some talent. But the talent, it's not the main point, it's not the important. More important is the passion, the person be a good person, because it's almost like a family.
It is very interesting that you say that. I always thought that talent is a very important factor, but now that you point out that that collaboration and family is more important, I tend to agree with you.
Yes, because we stay together a lot of time. Saturdays on our aqua shop is a day that many members of team came to have lunch with us. So it's like a family.
I need to ask you, in your own IAPLC entries, how much role would you give to that group?
Oh, a lot, more than 50%.
So you think that more than 50% of your success is coming from your team, from your group?
Yes.
Wow, that is amazing. Yes. I love this idea.
That's maybe is the secret to be among the 50.
That's why we're always behind, huh, Tommy?
Okay.
So can you tell me how the number of this group, how many people did you have in this group at the beginning, and how many do you have now?
Yeah, at the beginning we have about 10 persons, and now I think we were almost 30.
And you often meet, and you often have these discussions, these lunches, these meetings, these talks?
Yes, on Saturdays, every Saturday we have 3 or 4 people from this team in Aquabase to lunch or to take a coffee. Some members are not from São Paulo, are from different regions of Brazil, and Brazil is a big country, so they cannot travel often. But
you came with a friend. Is he also a member of the team?
Yes.
Yes, he is?
Yes, Ricardo.
Okay, there was another Brazilian guy in the gallery with the Aquabase t-shirt. That's why I assumed that he's a member of the team.
Yes, he's from our team. This guy never assembled an aquarium. That's why I talk that talent is not the most important thing, but he helps us from the other ways.
He follows you to Hungary?
Yes.
Wow.
And sometimes he points a problem in an aquarium that the most experienced members didn't see. Yes.
Oh, wow.
That's the way.
It is.
Well, in 2016, I was invited. I have the great honor to be invited to assemble an aquarium for ADA Gallery. The same honor that I had this year from Green Aqua. And that was a very special trip for me.
I think it's the dream of all aquascapers to make one tank for ADA.
Yes. I visit Japan. Nowadays I visit Japan five times. Japan is an amazing country. You learn in every corner. You learn from the people, you learn respect for nature, for each other, and you learn from aquascaping a lot. I met Shinobu Amano and the wife of Mr. Amano. I met Sayuri Amano. They were excellent persons, receive us with a lot of
warm-hearted.
Yes, yes, was amazing. I travel with two members of my team, Fernando Francischelli and Daniel Horta, yes, and my sister Ana Maria. Was a memorable trip. Well, the day before, they take me to the hardscape location. It's a huge place with all the kinds of rocks. You can imagine the reserve of hardscape reserved for Mr. Amano.
I have been there. I can imagine.
Yeah, you can imagine.
But you guys cannot,
Yeah.
and this is like a chocolate store,
Yes,
candy store.
Yes, and they told me, be my guest, choose what you want to assemble the aquarium in ADA Gallery tomorrow. So we stayed 3 hours there choosing rocks. I prefer rocks to work. Brazilian style mostly is from rocks.
But you started to use some wood lately
yes,
as well.
Yes. And that afternoon I stayed 3 hours choosing rocks, and then they take us back to the hotel. The member of the ADA asked, we were 4 people that we will assemble aquariums there. They asked us, how many hours do you want to prepare the layout tomorrow? One person says 2 hours, the other says 3 hours, 2 hours and a half. And they asked me, I said, I need 2 days. Oh, 2 days, no, it's not possible. Yes, I need 2 days because I want to prepare the first day, make the layout. When you are working in the layout, you reach a point that you cannot see mistakes. Then you go to the hotel, you rest the night, you sleep the night. When you come back, you see a lot of defects, mistakes that you can improve. And then in the second day, I finish the layout and planted and okay. And they agree, okay, we will make it possible. In the first day, you will work in the parking lot. That is the image.
Then you sleep in the Japanese hotel.
Well, this is about the night after the day. I cannot sleep. Well, I was
so excited.
So excited. I woke up 3 o'clock in the morning. I cannot sleep more. At 5, when I can see light outside, I go to a park, a beautiful temple, and get inspired by nature. Then I am ready to start. Was a very emotional day because the year before I lost Takashi Amano in August 2015, and I lost my father in same year in December.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So was a very difficult year, and in the 2016 I was there to assemble an aquarium. I'm sure then Takashi Amano and my father were with me in this moment.
That is a moment of inspiration.
Yes. So I start to choose the rocks. I like to work this way. I put all the stones, all the rocks in the floor and look at all material that I have at my disposal. Then I choose the main stone. That was this one, a beautiful mountain stone. I choose mountain stone in that occasion because it was a kind of rock that we don't have in Brazil. And Takashamano loves this kind of stone. So I choose the mountain stone because of this. And I asked to my friends, what do you think? They told me, oh, it's okay, the proportional, it's okay. Then
You even asked the family
yes,
what they think about
the family like it, okay, so I am happy also.
That's really nice.
Yes.
I love how you always think in groups and in
Yes.
relationships.
The day after, the aquarium is already inside the gallery.
So this is the second day already.
The second day, yes. I take pictures. That's another point that it's very important. Take pictures of your work and compare with the versions, if it's better, it's worse, and always register by photos the work.
Why is that important instead of watching it with the naked eye?
Because thinking about contests, you will be evaluated about a picture, and the picture must be photogenic.
It's interesting how you say that when you want to learn the technique, you have to observe the three-dimensional.
Yes.
And then when you create the three-dimensional, you have to see the picture.
Yes, exactly. Because if you see the aquarium live, you understand how to build it, how to make elevations, plateaus, the sand. It's very important to see it live, but the photograph must be perfect for the judges of evaluation. So you work through the lens of your camera.
I understand. I have one more question. Maybe this one will take us a little bit backwards. So how do you get the main inspiration? So where do you get inspired from? You can get inspired by other tanks, you can get inspired by nature, you briefly mentioned. Like in Brazil, do you have places that you can go to get inspiration?
I've been inspired by nature, sure, but I start to look at the material that I have. Normally.
I forgot you're an architect.
Yes.
that's
Yes.
where this is coming from.
Maybe. If you make a sketch, a drawing, and then you search for these materials, it's very difficult to find natural materials with the shape that you imagine.
Except when you do it with 100 pieces.
Yes.
Like you did before.
Okay, yes. But then I look to my material at my disposal and start to making layout together.
Play with it.
Some friends told me that I talk with the rocks, and they heard me. Don't know.
What did you say? Hey, I'm talking to the rocks as well.
Come on.
No, you're not good enough. Just get out of here.
And then, finally, I consider the hardscape done, the layout okay, and start planting. I was helped by ADA staff. And finally, the work is in the place to stay. Was a 90p aquarium. This is the final work.
I can see that you like these V-shaped styles when you can like open the structure.
Yes, it's a signature, mine signature. Most of my aquariums has the same shape. Andrea, my partner, criticized me. Oh, you must create something new.
You're always going with this V-shape, man.
Yes, yes.
But if you can find some detail or something that would interest you in making a new layout, you wouldn't be bored by using the same structure because it's a new kind of layout, it's a new kind of message that you want to deliver, right? So even if it's a V shape, it's not the same V shape. As you said, no two aquariums are alike.
Exactly. Now I will present you some aquariums. In 2011, I made this aquarium with the colored plants behind the main rock.
Please check out the rankings as well, guys, at the bottom, just in parentheses. I'm just saying, don't only look at the aquarium, look at the ranking too.
But was the first time that a Brazilian guy be among the 27 layout. 2012.
Same ranking?
Same ranking, 13.
No, that's not a V shape. That's more a triangular shape. It has a little bit of V, I agree.
Yes. I have a lot of love for this work because I named it Father, in memory of my father that I lost in this year.
Josh Sim, in his seminar, has talked about, in his masterclass, had talked about the two different styles, the Zen style and the wild style. I can definitely sense that you're more towards the Zen style layout technique. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree.
And I quite like how you take the hardness of the rocks and you soften them with the plants, the way that you mentioned that Mr. Amano has taught you, and you can really see in every layout that you create this finesse that is coming from this contrast.
Yes. This work was just after the loss of my father, and then was a very sad moment that I dive in the aquarium and start to work, and the hobby, the aquascaping, helps me to heal, to support these difficult times. So the name of this work is Time to Heal.
Do you think that aquascaping is healing us in many ways?
Many ways.
Not only in a loss, but in other areas, problems of our lives?
And
why?
Because you see nature, you see the plants growing, you see the fishes swimming, it's calming, it's relaxing, it's a great hobby. Well, 2017.
Your best ranking
My
so
best
far?
ranking so far.
Is this the bronze prize?
Silver prize. And I'm very happy because ADA chose this layout as the best of show, the best layout of the competition. 2018, I start to try driftwood. It's an aquarium that I like it also. I think it's my best layout with driftwood.
The way that you use driftwood is very similar to how you use
the rocks.
The rocks, right?
Yes. 2019, 2020, this is the work that I consider my best work.
This is your most famous work also as well. You've been interviewed by the AD Aqua Journal as well about this tank.
Yes. This is a work that I dedicated a lot of time, as you can see here. It's a time-lapse. The way that I created this tank, that were 55 days of work, putting stones together, gluing, taking pictures. There are about 1,000 pictures.
Wow.
Every day I work a little, I put some rocks, take it back, put another one, and that's a very difficult process, but that's the way that I like to work.
I cannot take my eyes off the screen here because like seeing a time-lapse, an aquarium built like this, I don't think that I've ever seen it done by anybody. Have you guys seen it? No, like a time-lapse like this?
Yeah, because it's very detailed. A lot of stones, small stones.
This is the 100 stone layout that you were talking about, or we were talking about.
Because in that occasion, I don't have a main stone, a perfect main stone. Then I think, well, I will create a main stone with small stones together.
Do you think that the number of the details that you have in this contributed in any way in the publicity, in the success of this tank?
Yes, probably. And after 55 days, this is the final result of the hardscape. I consider the hardscape done.
I really like the background, how you play with scale, that you have smaller rocks in the background like distant hills, and you have the foreground.
To create perspective, to create deepness.
And how you have no parallel lines in the layout, so all the lines are a little bit like the V shape is moving more horizontal as you move to the side of the tank.
Yes.
So it's something that we could talk about like for hours, I think,
Yes.
because I'm really interested in how you imagine. Do you have any sketches, or as you work, as you told me, as you work, you will actually find a way to put those little lines based on what you already have? So you have no idea of where you're going, you're just following the path?
Yeah, but the photograph process helped me a lot in this, because I'm looking many images, and you can adjust. The team criticize me also. Oh, this rock is not good enough. Try another one.
Oh, I just realized that you didn't do this to document what you're doing. You did this to actually reflect back on what you're doing. So you didn't do this to show us, you did it for yourself and for the team.
That's the way that I work. 2021, another V-shape. Andrea,
nice. But this is very central, I must tell you.
Yes.
Too central, right?
Yes, and some members of the team criticize me the symmetric way, but sometimes
you have to do that.
Yes. 2022, and maybe, I don't know, this year.
Now I think that you're using bigger pieces of wood and with a bigger character. So why is that, and are you going to continue to do this, or what is the idea behind it?
This year I was very inspired by Josh Sim.
His layout using the wood as rocks.
Yes. Was a very coincidence. This year Josh Sim and my layout has the same title, Samurai, because we both use the Samurai Gourami. We don't talk each other, but the same title, it's a coincidence, but was a layout inspired in his work. So it's not a coincidence.
No, it's not, and you guys just got a sneak peek into how the biggest minds of aquascaping of today, from Asia to South America, are thinking the same way. It's incredible how we all move into the same direction.
Exactly. Some Brazilian style tips. Mostly we use rocks, and we use rocks from Japan, Seiyu stone, Hiwo stone, because we don't have those stones in Brazil naturally. What you don't have in your country, you usually like most, because it's not common. So the shape, the texture of the rocks amazing us. So usually we use this kind of rock.
I have to stop you for a moment and ask you what kind of stones and what kind of wood you have in Brazil that you could use for aquascaping and you never see in Europe or Asia. Do you have any native hardscape that you can use?
We have. I use it sometimes, but don't have the power, the expression of the Japanese rocks.
Can you give us a name? What is the name of the stone that you, or wood that you think of?
The most common are river stones that are boldly, and the river
just rounded them?
Yes. We have a very good stone from Chapada Diamantina. Chapada Diamantina is in the center of Brazil. mountains, huge mountains, that has layers. They are white and orange layers.
But they're parallel layers, right?
Yes, yes. And very uncommon rocks, but they are difficult because the very bright white color in the photo reflects too
It's
much.
too much, it's too strong.
Much contrast, so I don't use often.
And what do you have any kind of wood that you would use?
Normally the wood that we use in Brazil came from Asia. We don't use wood. The wood from Brazil bring colorish to the water.
Leaches
Yes.
stuff into the water.
The water came reddish months. So
I know you have the Amazon and you have those rainforest types, and I was wondering why. Well, first of all, inspiration. If somebody lives in a country so vast and with such rich nature, why would they get inspired by something else when they have? And why did the Indonesians come up with the Indonesian style, which is quite similar to the rainforest style that you could get inspired from? But it never happens. Somehow you have to bring the exotic energy from Asia, for example.
First of all, Brazil is a huge country. It's difficult to us go to Amazonia. It's almost the same price to go to Europe. So we don't travel long distance in Brazil. You can find some interesting wood in Amazonia, but it's hard to get there to find them. So, and the laws in Brazil are restricted to use native material. So in Brazilian style, mostly we use rocks. The shadows are very important also. The same stone in the two pictures, only rotating the stone towards the light create the shadow in the same stone. So you must worry about shadows. The contrast between light and shadow is very important.
Are you building your aquariums under the aquarium light?
Yes.
Always? So you never build the aquarium with no light on top?
No, no. Always with aquarium lights on top.
See, that's what I'm talking about. We always do it in the YouTube videos, that we never have a light because of the circumstances.
You don't need to have pressure to create the layout. I think layout is the most important part of the aquarium work. If you have pressure to do the layout, maybe when you plant, when you fill it, you can change some big things. You must imagine the final picture with the plants. Here I will keep this stone higher because in front of that I will have a bush of
Starogine or something. Do you know what plant, or you just know that you're going to have something higher there?
No, I usually have some plants that I will show you, but at the moment only know that some plants will hide part of the rock. It's sufficient. Some species that will use it to work in Brazilian style. The Rotalas are our favorite plant. The Ludwigias, the Linophilas, Myriophyllum, and carpet plants. Use the plants as they were the colors of the palette of a painter.
So you consider this like an art form, and
Yes.
you're painting with living things.
Exactly.
And the canvas?
Yes, the canvas is the tank.
Is the tank. You also paint with colors, right? So when you paint, you think of the different colors. As you can see, you kind of matched those colors on the middle image.
Yeah.
With the colors of the plants that you have on top, right?
Yes, yes.
That's not by coincidence.
No, no.
Check this out.
This is the plants that we consider for foreground. learn to mix the species of the carpets, plants together to create a natural atmosphere, like in nature. In nature, the grass grows and then another plant make shadow and fight together for a space. If you can reproduce this in the aquarium, you will have a very natural effect.
What is that Calitrice stagnalis? I've never heard of it.
It's very similar to Monte Carlo.
How can you do this valley thing in your number 4 ranking layout? I've seen that you have a valley stretching down from the right side of the aquarium to the middle. And then I think you have some mosses in there, and then you have other plants in between. Do you trim those mosses?
Yes.
Always?
Always.
So you never leave the mosses to just grow?
No. Mosses, is very difficult to use mosses. People think that mosses is for beginners, but it's not. To achieve a good result with mosses, you must work hard. Trim it a lot. When you trim mosses, they go to they sink. They don't float like other plants, so you must remove with hose. So it's difficult to work with mosses.
How often do you have to trim those stem plants that you? Because my personal problem with stem plants is not that I'm lazy to trim them, is that they never look good for a long time. Because sometimes they're overgrown, then I need to trim them. Of course, I'm using the top-off method when I push back the tops of the plants, but still, I only have a limited time. So from each month, maybe I have 5 days of perfect condition, and I have 25 days of overgrown or trimmed down. So isn't that a problem for you? Or
it's not a problem, but it's a difficult thing. You must learn only with experience, planting many aquariums and learning the time to regrowth of each species that you use. So that's knowledge that you achieve only with time.
And with experience.
Yes.
And generally, can you tell us, do you trim more often or less often the stem plants?
More often.
And do you top them off? Do you put the tops back, or you never put the tops back?
No, sometimes yes.
When? Sometimes?
In the last month before the photo.
Why not in the beginning?
When you plant densely. Trimming it go more dense, the bush get more dense, and it's not necessary to replant the top, because the plant has a lot of energy and stays healthy. But at the end, 3-4 months after, the plant is not with that energy. And if you discard the better plant, the top, maybe your final result is not so good.
And what do you do with the top? Do you push it all the way down to the gravel, or you just push it in between the other plants?
Both. If you have length enough to push in the substrate, okay. But the bush is too dense at this moment. If you only put inside, that it stays there, it's okay.
Okay, so this part was for George Farmer, who said that he cannot trim stem plants. And it's also for me, because I'm also having trouble. I need to ask you about the plants that can be found in Brazil, because in my idea is like Luca is going out and reaches into the stream and picks up a plant and puts it in his aquarium. Yeah. Is that true?
No.
Never?
Never. We have plants here in European market that came from Brazil, from Pantanal, from, I don't know, but we don't have it in São Paulo, in Brazil. In Brazilian market, we don't have it.
Because nobody propagates it, or nobody puts it in the nursery.
So I need to come here and go back to Brazil with some plants in my wallet.
Maybe. Yeah, well, that's very unfortunate, isn't it?
Yes.
You never went on a hike and maybe bring some plants back and try to do that, or?
When I was younger, yes, but nowadays, no.
Because Mr. Amano always went
Yes.
to the Amazon, and he was it was such an inspiration for him. So I think that Brazilians inspired him so that he can inspire you guys back.
Yes. Great.
Wow.
This is the final result of the aquarium that I assembled to ADA, where I use a lot of different type of carpet plants. They mix it, creating a natural atmosphere. The middle plan is very important because we connect the hardscape between the plants. Normally the hardscape is in the middle portion of the aquarium, so the choice of the middle plants is very important. You cannot hide the rocks behind the plants, so you must choose plants that be well in a lower height. And then the background plants. And one tip that I give in this point is try to use different species mixed in the bush, not only Rotala green, not only Rotala rotundifolia, mix them between, or mix some other species in between, because this is how nature acts. If you look at a mountain, you don't see one kind of plant. So try to mix some stem plants between the principal species that you have, so you give a more natural atmosphere.
Can you give us a hands-on example on how would you do this? So for example, you have a palm-size area, and you want to plant behind the rock, and you want to have something around that rock that sticks out a little bit from that rock, like that. And maybe you want to say that the main plant is Rotala HRR because you want something red behind it.
Yes.
How would you go? So what would you put?
In the middle of the bush,
Line.
you can insert some Ludwigia SP Red, Ludwigia arcuata, Ludwigia brevipes.
So 4 types of plants already,
Yes.
together with the main plant.
Yes. You have Rotala HRA.
So most of it you put Rotala,
Yes.
and then you put these 3 combined here and there.
Yes. Only a few spots to create a distraction, another texture, another color. It brings naturality to the layout.
Do you put these patches together? So like if you have like 2 patches of green or orange, you put them together, or you separate them a little bit?
Separated. I plant stem by stem. If you plant 2, 3, 4 stems together, you don't have space to water flow and give nutrients, CO2. Sometimes it melts. If you plant stem by stem, you have space to the water flow and bring nutrients, CO2.
I'm learning something here, because we always wanted to plant densely, and we followed this rule blindly, but I've never thought about this, and we always have a problem in the background.
This is the work that I consider the most representative of Brazilian style, where I really used the plants like paints. Another thing that I learned from Mr. Amano, that it's very important to have empty space, a point where your eyes rest. The empty in the center, we call it empty a mano.
You do?
Yeah, in Brazil we call vazio a mano, we call it, the empty space of a mano. And that's why maybe another Brazilian style signature.
Yes, and also I think the size is very important. So it shouldn't be too big, it shouldn't be too small.
Exactly.
How do you decide on what proportions to use here?
Depends the size of the tank, the size of the rocks that I used, the size of the plants.
While we're here, I still have to ask you about the reflection, because I think that, that in the contest photography, it's very important to have the reflection is also an integral part.
We start to be worried with reflections 5-6 years ago. We learned that the reflections are very important in our works, not only the surface reflection, but also the side glass reflection. The reflection image extend your work for the sides.
And what about the back of the aquarium? So you should not see the top. Do you intentionally cover that?
Yes, I normally every time I try to hide the corner of the glasses.
It's incredible how you say the same things about reflection and corners and balance, the same things like other great aquascapers are saying. So we can see that there's some certain kind of rule to how to make a very successful aquascape, and these are very strict rules. Reflections, shadows, shapes, focus points, empty spaces.
Well, I like this phrase, the result is just the result. That counts, it's what you learn in this journey, what you feel, that's important in life.
So that's how we should all approach aquascaping in general and contest tanks in general. We cannot go for winning IAPLC because we would be continuously frustrated.
Yes, exactly.
Because Josh Sim always wins. No, I'm looking for the day that I can say that I was talking to an IAPLC winner. What is in front of you? So what are you trying to achieve in the future? What are your goals in aquascaping?
Enjoy every day aquascaping and be happy.
That's your goal. It's quite a nice goal.
Yeah, that's it. Well, and I want to finish dedicating this masterclass to a close friend. It was a great, terrible loss.
We learned so much from Filipe, and it's a really sad moment, and it's a sad moment for the whole hobby that we lost him. So rest in peace, my friend. And
that's it.
So let's get back to the future, because I think that Filipe always wanted us to continue doing our hobby and to live cheerfully. He was a cheerful guy.
Yes. Sure.
And I have to ask you, now that you guys, now when you're seeing this video, we're already past the IAPLC deadline. So, but now that we're recording, we're before the deadline. Are you going to actually send something to IAPLC this year? Of course you are.
Yes, yes.
Are you ready with the tank?
No, I'm not ready. I never been so delayed. Because
are you stressed?
No, it was a very tough year of work. It's a good thing. I don't complain. But priorities, and then the tank for the IAPLC is not ready. But I think I will return to Brazil very inspired from Green Aqua, push my limits and finish in a good job, I hope.
Well, I wish you all the luck for 2023. Thank you so much for being here, my friend.
I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much, and I wish good luck for all Brazilian aquascapers as well, and for all others who had sent the applications to the IAPLC. And please stay tuned for next week's video, and please support our channel. Please don't forget to visit the Aquabase. You have all the Aquabase contacts in the description as well. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.